The caption is breaking: Christian apologist makes an IDF soldier admit that he killed children. It's time to ban all Israeli citizens globally. All right, so let's listen what this video is.
People did you kill?
Okay. Now,
How many people did you kill?
zero.
Why can't you
Actually,
zero?
zero.
You served in the
Yes, I
military. You
served in the
killed
military.
zero
Yes,
people.
That's the idea.
Where
Because-
did you serve? What were you?
I actually served.
Where did you
also
serve?
In Gaza.
What did
And
you?
also
No,
the
no.
West
What
Bank.
was your role? What was your
A
role?
commander and a
A
fighter.
commander.
And I didn't kill.
So
yes.
who did you command to kill? How many people
All
did
right.
you command to get killed?
I'm happy that
Did
you
you
are
ever
actually
command
asking
for a
those
bomb to
stupid
be dropped?
questions.
Did you ever command for a bomb to be dropped?
All right. Yes. Actually,
Yes. So you killed people. So
Right.
you just lied again. I just caught him in a lie. He just lied.
Yeah, well,
Where did you command for
Great.
bombs to be dropped?
all right. So
Where did
we're
you
gonna
command
play
for
this game.
bombs to be
What
dropped?
about
Where
the
did you
definition
command
of-
for
why
bombs to
we're
be
not
dropped?
talking about
Where
the
did you
definition of
command?
terrorism?
Why do you not
Why
want to
are you
answer
not doing
this?
this?
Did you
Why
ever
are you
command
saying
for a
this?
bomb to be
Did
dropped
you
in a
actually-
school?
Did you actually support terrorism?
Did
That's
you
why you don't
ever?
wanna talk?
Did you ever
Did
command
you
for a
actually
bomb to
put
be
so
dropped
much
in a
hell
school?
on your face in order for me to see your
Oh, now
eyes?
you got to attack me,
Yeah,
my
but you've been
appearance.
attacking me for 2 hours, bro.
I'm asking you. This is
So I'm
relevant.
asking you,
You served in the military.
you a
You
simple
were
question.
calling them the
What
most
is a Palestinian?
moral
You can answer
military
me.
ever.
You can answer me. What is a Palestinian?
So here's the thing.
What is a Palestinian?
The reason why he doesn't want to
What
answer my
is a
question
Palestinian?
is
It's
because
unbelievable. He
this
can't answer
this guy literally
Okay,
bombed a
fine.
school, and he won't deny it. Deny that you bombed a school.
I personally, in my command 20 years ago, did not. But if
You
watch-
you personally, you hear what he said? He
Yes.
personally did not. He had somebody else do it.
hold on. Oh, you hear what he said? He said
My
that I
God,
personally claimed to do it.
this
Okay.
guy's a genocidal
This guy
freak.
is a genocide.
Okay,
People did you?
What did I just watch? Okay, Guy.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about who the guy on the left is. The guy on the right is irrelevant. In general, like he's a joke. He's been a joke for a while, trying to grift off of anti-Israel stuff. The guy on the left is the fiance of Emily Schrader. He's a Christian who was an IDF commander. So that's the first thing. This is not a Jewish person. This is a Christian person. Now, bombing a school is not a big deal. I'm sorry if people are like, bombing a school is not a big deal when that school doesn't have children in it. The structure doesn't hold any humanitarian value. The reason to bomb a school is because both Hamas and Hezbollah have repeatedly, through the training they received from the IRGC, learned to use these structures for military purposes. They do it with mosques. They do it with with churches as well. There are videos of an ever diminishing, over the last 20 years, community of Christians admitting that Hamas has been using their churches, that threatened them, and used their churches to fire from. So bombing a school, if it doesn't hold children, doesn't mean anything. Which is, yes, you bomb schools when they are structures that are being converted to be used for military purposes. That's the Geneva Convention, by the way. The Geneva Convention says that once a structure is converted to be used for military purposes, it loses its protected status. This is what Hamas does. Hamas uses hospitals, uses schools, uses churches, uses mosques for military purposes. The whole of the Gaza Strip over the last 20 years have been converted into one big military compound for this very reason. So that people who are dumb, like the guy on the right, will say, "Oh, but you're bombing a school," because apparently the value of the humanitarian value of a school is the purpose that the structure serves in regular times. That's not the case, and this is stupid. The whole argument is stupid. Now, I have, if we want, I can quickly find, while other people respond, I can quickly find incontrovertible proof that Hamas has been using these kinds of structures for military purposes. So bombing a school is not a big deal if it doesn't actually have children in that moment.
Can I
Wouldn't it
add to that
be
from the military
justified-
perspective?
Can I just ask Guy a question before you start? Guy, wouldn't it be also justified to bomb an area or a school, even if there are children in it, if the consequences of you not doing so, based on what's in there right at that moment, would be more children dying than the children that are there?
Yes. So generally speaking, a proportional response is not doing to the other person what they've done to you, like Pierce Morgan keeps saying, even though he's been told repeatedly that that's not what it is, and therefore, like, proving he's not a good faith actor. Because he keeps saying, well, Israel's response was disproportionate. Well, Israel's response should not be to do what Hamas did to the people in October 7th. Should they grape and do all that stuff and behead people? Is that what Israel should do because that's what Hamas did? That's stupid. A proportional response is a response that's proportional compared to the goals of the war. Once you're in a just war, which Israel was and has been ever since October 7th, a proportional response or a proportional action in war is an action that has a reasonable level of collateral damage, which is it's a murky definition compared to the military objectives it achieves. So, for example, killing Mohammed Dif, like the basically the chief of staff for the Hamas military, would be allowed even if he's surrounded by a certain number, up to there's a limit, but a certain number of civilians, because it would hasten the end of the war to such an extent that at the end of the day less people will die, including on the Palestinian side, by the way. So and when he was killed, he actually didn't have any civilians surrounding him. They keep saying that everyone who's dead is a civilian, and the media keeps eating it up. That's just not the case. Mohammed Dif was killed in a military compound that was built in an enclave outside of a refugee camp. So it was meant to look like, oh, they just shot in the middle of the refugee camp. No, we shot a military compound in the middle of a refugee camp that only had military personnel in it. So even in that case, that's not what happened. But the target is what justifies the collateral damage that's allowed. And so depending on what's happening in the school, you're allowed to do that. But Israel doesn't do that. Even if a school has children in it, then the IDF would bomb specifically the one room in that school that is used as a command center.
Okay, Monkey?
Yeah, using a school is against international law. You can't use a school and then complain, oh my God, they bombed the school. Using a hospital is against international law. You can't use a hospital and then, oh my God, they bombed the hospital. Using a refugee camp is against international law. It's against the Geneva Convention. So you can't start by breaking these laws and then say, oh my God, they did an illegal thing. That doesn't make any military sense. Another point is, well, I think you already said it. Like, it doesn't matter if some civilians die. Actually, the children would benefit if a school being used by Hamas gets destroyed, especially if they're not there, because that means you can't call them into school tomorrow while Hamas operations are going on underneath. You hit the school at night when no one is there, no kids are there. You destroyed the base of Hamas that is under that school. And you save the kids from being in a war zone. So you're protecting children by bombing these places while no kids are there, because you're removing them from the place where Hamas is putting them, because it's Hamas that's putting them in the danger zone because they want to operate out of a school. Am I right about this, guy?
Yes. Can I share a picture from
Yes, of course.
the recent war? Okay.
Yep.
Second. Okay, so I need to remove the current screen.
Yes.
I can't do that. So Armin, can you?
Here, I'll just do it for you. There you go.
Okay. This is a nursery school. You can see based on the walls, they have Disney characters. This is actually not Mickey Mouse. This is Farfour. We can talk about Farfour some other time. But this is a nursery school for like toddlers. This is the entrance to a terror tunnel. Okay? This building was bombed. This is a school that was bombed when it was empty because it was used as a terror base with an entrance, a huge entrance, by the way, to a terror tunnel. This is not like a manhole. This is, you can pass a lot of munitions and stuff through here, including RPGs and whatever you want. This is the war. These are the people that Israel has been dealing with. This is what Hamas is. Okay? They built tunnels under nursery schools to use them as a tool for war. Because in their eyes, every child that would die as a result of this is a martyr. So they're doing them a favor. These are sick people. You're not dealing with regular people from the West that you're used to. Okay? You have to understand this. Now, this is just one example out of many. I can find others, but I think this shows it very well. So yeah,
This is a great demonstration. Great demonstration. And just to add to that, Ali from inside Iran also commented saying من خودم معلمم تو ایران مدارس رو تعطیل کردن و نیروی امنیتی و نظامی بردن توش هنوز هم اونجا. He's saying I'm a teacher inside Iran. Inside Iran they closed down schools and they moved the military forces into those schools and they're still there. So he's also providing.
Hamas learned this from the IRGC. A lot of commanders in Hamas have been trained by the IRGC.
Sid, did you want to add anything?
Yeah. So I think that my frustration with this whole discourse is that Hamas is very open about their use of human shields, among many other war crimes. So they're open about it because they know that they're not going to receive the scrutiny that Israel does. So there is like an asymmetric scrutiny that happens here. Now we just look at, like, okay, for example, Guy has this, he can show examples, and there are many other cases. On the other side, like the Palestinian Authority and Hamas will literally name schools after people who kill civilians. They will literally name schools after people who've achieved nothing beyond killing civilians. Okay, so this is, I mean, this is very, very different culture. Now, Israelis will often respond saying, okay, you know, this guy was saying, oh, you said the IDF is the most moral army in the world. Well, maybe that's hyperbolic, but the IDF do various measures to minimize the harm to civilians. They do roof knocks, they do leaflets, they do calls, and so on, right? They facilitate humanitarian aid. They create humanitarian corridors. People will often respond to this by saying, well, you know, like, if you're dead, who cares, right? But here's the problem with that. You look just across the border in the last 15 years in Syria, you got 500,000 dead, 12 million displaced. That's like 14 Nakbas worth of displacement. Okay, just in the last 15 years. Okay, were there any roof knocks? Were there any humanitarian corridors? Were there any leaflets? Were there any calls? Was there any facilitation of humanitarian aid by any of the combatants? By Assad, by Hezbollah, by ISIS? Was there any? Okay, so when I say 500,000, 500,000 dead, I'm talking about significantly more than all of Israel's wars put together, including Gaza and Lebanon and Iran. None of those things happened at all, and there is zero scrutiny, because it comes down to who is allowed to conduct war and who is not allowed to conduct war. And this is the environment that we're in right now, where basically you're saying, Israel, you're not allowed to conduct war. You're not allowed to conduct war because, look, this is what happened. This school was bombed. So you're not allowed to conduct war. They are allowed to conduct war. They are allowed to bomb schools. They are allowed to kill civilians. They are allowed to practice 0-calorie sieges. They are allowed to do that. And what does it mean if they're allowed to fight war and we're not allowed to fight war? What does that mean? It means we lose and they win.
So a few more things to say. First of all, what's 24? You can stop spamming this comment. I'm going to respond to it now. What about the rape of prisoners in Israeli prisons? This has never happened. The worst accusation that had some level of credibility is that soldiers did some form of torture to one specific individual who was there in October 7th and did some heinous crimes and would have deserved all of it. And even that ended up being false. So there was, the other accusation in the New York Times that Israel taught dogs to do something that's literally impossible to teach dogs to do. So neither accusation, this, as is stated, never happened. The one slightly, it took a while for it to come out that it never happened accusation was that there was torture of a specific individual who did, I don't want to say on stream what they did, but needless to say, torture is the least of what they deserve. Okay, so that's with regards to that. I would like
just to be clear for YouTube that we're against cruel and unusual. We're against torture,
yes.
Right? Like so. Yes. Okay. Just want to be
no, sure that it's something that you can't do moral grandstanding about. It's not something you should that should happen. Like those soldiers were, because of that suspicion, those soldiers were investigated because you're not supposed to do that. It's against the law to do that. You can't just do vigilante justice. But you can moral grandstand about this poor victim who murdered God knows how many people.
Guys, I know sometimes I do this and it seems ridiculous. I just know how big of a threat our channels like these are under, so I have to just make sure that we protect our platform. So sorry if it sounds ridiculous. It's just what I have to do. Right.
Can I talk about the American guy a second? Because he was just going full on. Oh, Gaza. I gotta care so much about the Gazans and Gaza and the Gaza. If you're America first, and you're saying, look, I don't want my money over there, I don't want my people over there, that is not the same thing about crying about Gazan schools. So you can't position yourself as all I care about America first, and all you do constantly is talk about Israel. If you're America first, and I don't know, 90% of the countries you talk about, of the country you say is Israel, it's not America, you're not America first. I don't know this guy, but I can almost bet money that if I go into what he talks about, most of it is Israel. I don't think he's America first.
Yes.
I don't think he's talking about it. Most of these America first people are just right-wing concern trolls, right? Working for the Hamas agenda, working for the Qatar agenda, the Saudi agenda in the NGO system. I think they're subversively paying into super chatting. I don't know how they do it, but they have nothing to do with America's interest when they're crying over Gaza, arguing over Gaza, crying about Palestine. I am so sick of their shit. And I want all Americans here and everywhere to recognize them as fucking traitors. It's what they are. This person crying about, like, people. What about the rape in American jails? You don't care about the rape in American jails? What about the Mexican jails? There's a lot of rape in a lot of jails. Why are we talking about this one? Because you have one concern. Palestinians. You don't care about anyone else on earth. So
not even Palestinians, Mikey. No, Mikey,
Not
you're
even.
so right, but they don't even care about them. They're
That's a good
using
point.
them. They're using them. They actually want them to continue to suffer because they're invested in their suffering. But great points.
The biggest non-Palestinian group I know who actually cares about Palestinians are Israelis. Like, not all Israelis, but a lot of the Israelis. Like, if you actually care about Palestinian lives, you would not support Hamas. You would not suppose the PA, the corrupt PA that makes money out of keeping Palestinians in poverty. Because if they're out of poverty, then the PA will not have justification for getting more donations. Hamas, like, you don't need to say much. If you want to know about Hamas from someone who was actually in Gaza, go look up Ahmed Fouad El Khatib. Let's see if I have his channel here. I'll post the name in the chat. An actual Gazan like peace activist. He lost a lot of his war in the war. Okay, so this is the guy. He left Gaza. He did a jubilee basically against the pro-Palestine Westerners whom he hates, talking about Hamas. And so if you actually care about Palestinians, this is not the way to support Palestinians. Palestinians don't like the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority keeps Palestinians under chains. There's an excellent interview. I'll put it in the chat as well. And we can maybe add it to the description or something. If you want to hear what a Palestinian actually thinks, a long form conversation, 43 minutes between an Israeli settler, a great person called Joseph Cohen from the Israel Advocacy Movement. He has a channel. Highly recommend it. This is the video.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, I'll send the link to Armin as well. You want to hear what a Palestinian thinks? Go listen to this conversation. Now, this video that I have shared here is absolutely crucial. This is, oh, and by the way, we mentioned how Palestine, like the things that people say, the most bad things that people say about Ben Gvir are like to the left of the average Palestinian officer. Like Ben Gvir allegedly venerated a Jewish terrorist. Okay, the Palestinian Authority calls streets after the names of terrorists who did nothing but kill civilians and innocent people in Israel. So if you are so distraught by Ben Gvir, you should be distraught by every single Palestinian politician on both Hamas and the PA. Okay, now this video is one such politician from Hamas. This is their former Minister of the Interior called Fatih Hamad. And it's from 18 years ago. Okay, this is a video from 18 years ago. You can't blame this on AI. And if any of you speak Arabic, you'll know that what the captions say is what's actually said here.
Do you want to pause and read the captions?
The Palestinian people, okay, so the enemies of Allah do not know that the Palestinian people have developed their methods of death and death seeking. For the Palestinian people, death has become an industry. At which women excel, and so do all of the people living on this land. And again, I speak Arabic. This is 100% an accurate translation of what he's saying. The elderly excel at this, and so do the mujahidun, the soldiers, and the children. This is why they formed human shields of the women, the children, and the elderly, and the mujahideen, in order to challenge the Zionist bombing machine. It is as if they were saying to the Zionist enemy, we desire death like you desire life. Okay, now tell me, how the hell are you supposed to fight a war with this enemy without any civilian casualties, which is what the expectation is out of Israel? The expectation is not just you should have low civilian casualties. It's essentially whenever a civilian dies in the war between Israel and Hamas, this is on Israel, not on Hamas for starting the war and then creating the conditions that make it impossible for civilians to not die, but on Israel. So there's no, this has been true 18 years ago. It's still true today. This person has been minister right up until the war started. This isn't like an old, out of touch. Look up Fatah Hamad. You can Google him, see how relevant he was to the Gazan government. Okay, this is the name. Maybe it has two M's. It's possible that it has two M's. I think it has two M's. But this is the enemy that Israel has been dealing with in war over the last several decades, but specifically in the war over the last 3 years. And another, I'll send Armin another link because people have asked me to put this somewhere so that it's locatable.
Okay.
Oh,
you're gonna share that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it. But just so you have it, so you can put it in the description, especially because this is gonna be clipped. Because I'm very, very passionate about this. So all the links that we're talking about now, I'll send them to Armin, so they'll be in the description of the video that comes out of this. Based on Gaza Ministry of Health's own statistics, proportional distribution of Gaza fatalities by age and gender versus total. Okay, since October 7th, starting October 7th until May 7th, 2026, which is to say, almost a year after the hot war has ended, and you have like eliminations, like we've had a couple today of officers in Islamic Jihad and in Hamas. Okay, the gray is the total population based on the demographic. Okay, here I have ages. These are women. These are men. Okay, the actual bars that are colored are the fatalities in those groups in the war in total, by the way, because Hamas also doesn't distinguish between natural deaths and, like, all deaths since October 7th. No one died of disease. No one died of old age. Everyone who has died because of Israel, based on Hamas statistics. So, so here we have, look at how many people, how many children, female children have died. Way less than their distribution of the population, because Gaza is a very, very young society. They have a lot of children, so the demographic, the median age is very low. And for men also, up until the age of 14, it's below. But then at the age of 15, aka what the UN would call a child, when they start having soldiers, like that's 14 and 15 is when they start having soldiers. Like, people can start being official Hamas soldiers. Okay? But the UN would still call this a child. So when you hear 20,000 children, notice that the vast majority of them are in these two categories. So 15, it may be also they kind of as like under 21, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what they call it, but regardless, children soldiers are very, very common. And so you have here fighting age males are by far the most dead demographic in the last 3 years. Way beyond their share of the population, which is to say discriminate bombing. So the people who are targeted are people who are more likely to be Hamas operatives. And we see that, like, it only starts
guys, just so
when they start becoming soldiers.
Just for people to understand, based on Hamas's own numbers, it shows that not everybody is dying at the same rate. Based on their own numbers, it shows that the people who are most likely are fighting are the ones who are dying the most, which shows that Israel is not just killing everybody. That's basically what you're getting at.
Yes. Yeah.
Overwhelmingly
Yep.
military-aged men.
Yes. Overwhelmingly military-aged men are the people who have died in this war.
Okay. Great points.
Okay.
Sid, you haven't spoken. Did you, Sid, and then Mikey? Do you guys want to add anything to this?
Yeah. So I did have something I wanted to say, and I forgot. So go to Monkey. Maybe I'll remember.
Okay, Monkey.
I agree like I really can't add a lot because you are being very precise in your data. You have a lot of evidence to your claims. And so they're not really claims. You're just, exposing these people for what they are and their tactics. It's a little difficult to market. You can't just turn this into like a sound bite, but we can workshop that. That we can work on it. But as far as like what you're showing, yeah, I'm on board. I agree completely.
No, I think that was really great. That was really good. Great. I think that was very educational, and I think a
Okay,
lot of people
great.
appreciated that. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if we
and-
want, I can show videos of actual soldiers with holding RPGs and Hamas venerating 15-year-old mujahideen. So
Well,
That-
let's
that's
do that
another
next
thing
time. Let's
I
see
have
what Sid has
Yeah.
to say. And I don't, Guy, I don't know if you have time for another video because it's Israel related. Let me know if you have more time. Do you have more time?
It's a bit like I'm on the edge, but let's see the video and then I'll see how long it will take me to
Okay.
respond to it.
Okay, Sid, go ahead.
Okay, just quickly, I would say like thinking about Syria, right? The last 15 years, civil war in Syria. How often do you think the combatants in the Syrian civil war practiced human shields? Now, I don't know the answer to that, but my guess is they probably didn't bother because it's not going to do anything. So human shields are used in the case of Israel because Israel is sensitive to killing civilians, and in a way that Assad and Hezbollah and ISIS are not. So it's just not. It's not a valuable tactic. It's not to say that they didn't endanger civilians, but they would do so. This is my guess. They would do so just casually, not deliberately, because it just doesn't work as a deliberate strategy. It's really only used against Israel because Israel doesn't want to kill civilians.
I want to quickly respond to one comment here. Ian Dixon, I do think sometimes Israel is a bit reckless and don't take the care that other Western nations do in bombing civilian areas. It's not that they're deliberately trying to kill them, I'm sure. This is absolutely not true. No other country in history has ever dropped leaflets telling civilians to evacuate an area that's about to be bombed, losing the military advantage of surprise, which Israel has done constantly throughout the 3-year war in Gaza. Not only is it on the same level of other armies, it's way above and beyond other armies. Armies have, because military experts actually know what's going on and they understand that this is war, people have invited Israeli officials to military academies to explain how they did such a good job compared to the conditions in fighting in Gaza. And so you have some people like John Spencer, who's great, who's a military expert, explaining these things. And actual military experts secretly know this, and they invite Israel on campus to talk about this stuff. But it's just not, it's taboo to talk about. And I think one of the reasons that you think this is because of the kind of bad rhetoric that Trump has been using and Vance have been using, saying, oh, Israel is bombing the whole building. Why do they have to bomb the whole building? Well, first of all, they usually don't bomb the whole building. And when they do, unless it's very, very, very special circumstances, they tell people to evacuate ahead of time. And the reason they bomb the building is because there's munitions hitting all throughout the building or at the basement of the building, at which case you just have to collapse the building. There's no other way to do it. They should not have put it in the basement if they care about the building.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.